The holiday season is upon us, and France being a traditionally Catholic country, it means that the big end-of-year celebration is Christmas.
So how do the French celebrate Noël, and how do they ring in the new year?
Well, this being France, it has to do with a lot of food, Jeannie, but it's more than that.
Join us for this French Connections Plus, where we take a look at the end-of-year celebrations, les fêtes de fin d'année.
The general idea of Christmas in France is similar to other parts of the world. It's a family celebration, a moment of peace, light, and harmony in the heart of winter.
But if you've already celebrated Christmas in the US or the UK, it might seem a bit tamer. People here just don't go as Christmas crazy.
When it comes to getting into the Christmas spirit, French people are more subtle, I guess you could say. Our lights and decorations aren't over the top. We don't wear outrageous Christmas sweaters. And we do have Christmas music as well.
There's one French Christmas song, Petit Papa Noël. Petit Papa Noël.
We have more songs than that, but many have been translated from English, and you don't OD on them.
Now, one thing that is particular to France is when you celebrate Christmas. December 25th is a public holiday. People have a family lunch. But the real Christmas action happens on December 24th.
In France, it's all about Christmas Eve. People get together with their family around a beautifully decorated table, traditionally for a late meal after midnight mass.
Now, there's a name for this meal. It's called Le Réveillon de Noël.
As for the menu, it's very specific.
Joyeux Noël!
Christmas is a time of celebration in France. It's a moment when people really blow out on their food budget and taste all the delicious things that France has to offer. And people do tend to splurge on luxury items that are associated with the end of the year.
First up, some traditional appetizers, hors d'oeuvre, which are also known here as amuse-bouche, which translates into fun for your mouth.
And one thing that people particularly appreciate is smoked salmon. Now, people typically eat it on canapes, and they'll usually eat some sort of fish roe. Now, if you can afford caviar, go for it, it's delicious, but there are other budget options as well, such as tarama, which is a creamy fish roe spread, and people tend to eat it on blinis, which is a Russian sweet pancake.
Now, after the appetizers, you have the starters. Foie gras is a big one here in France at Christmas time. It's controversial, it's even banned in some countries, but here in France, it's really a Christmas standard. You usually eat it with toast and with some dried fruit like a fig or jam.
Next, people tend to have some sort of seafood, or seafruit as it's called in France, les fruits de mer. So that can be shrimp or scallops or sea urchins or lobster, but the king of Christmas is the oyster.
And that's just the beginning.
Let's go to the table. Passons à table.
On passe à table. Another Christmas favorite is escargot, or snails. Now, it is a bit of a cliche here in France, but around the holidays, people really do tend to eat them.
And people like to eat escargot roasted with garlic and butter. Now, they might look a little disgusting, but they're delicious. You just have to close your eyes and pop them in your mouth.
Another slightly strange but delicious Christmas dish is boudin.
People tend to think about boudin noir, which is blood sausage, but at Christmas time, people tend to eat boudin blanc, which has all sorts of mysterious things in it we don't want to think about, but it too is delicious. And after all that comes the pièce de résistance, some kind of bird. People tend to have this for Christmas lunch as well. Now, traditionally, it's a dinde de Noël, a Christmas turkey, or a capon, a castrated chicken. Tonight we chose a guinea fowl.
A guinea fowl with chestnuts, because chestnuts are always a Christmas staple in some shape or form. You can even have them as dessert, sugar-coated marron glacé, if you can stomach it.
Because you still need room for dessert. The traditional Christmas dessert is the inescapable bûche de Noël, the Yuletide log. It's a logged-shaped, delicious cake that you can buy at a boulangerie, or you can make one like you did, Jeannie.
I certainly did, and it's all about the kitsch decorations. There's the little Christmas Santa, there's the Christmas tree, all sorts of plastic decorations to make it look like a log in a real forest. And what does it taste like? Well, it can be chocolate like this one, but also hazelnut, chestnut, fruit, you name it. The Christmas Réveillon meal can last up to 6 hours in some cases, and it is truly a tradition here in France.
And it's an unforgettable moment for children, too.
Joyeux Noël! In the run-up to the holiday season, Christmas markets pop up all over France, with the most famous ones being in the eastern region of Alsace, near Germany.
These Christmas markets are an opportunity to do some Christmas shopping, of course, and also to eat and drink. Mulled wine, oysters, snails. Christmas is all about getting fat in France.
But of course, at these Christmas markets, you can also buy things to bring home, chief among them, santons. Now, santons are these tiny terracotta figures of the nativity scene that come from the Provence region in southern France.
And they go way beyond the traditional figurines of Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus and the three kings. For instance, there's the Christmas baker.
Or my personal favorite, the Christmas pumpkin lady.
There are all these figurines that you can jazz up your nativity scene with.
As a traditionally Catholic country, nativity scenes are a staple of Christmas time in France.
In recent years, there's been a debate over whether to display these nativity scenes, or crèches as they're called in France, in public space, because after all, France is a strictly secular country.
And while they do have obvious Christian origins, many people in France see nativity scenes more as a cultural tradition as opposed to a religious thing.
France's highest administrative court, the Conseil d'État, weighed in and said that it is lawful to display these nativity scenes in public so long as it's for a festive, artistic, or cultural purpose.
One thing that just about everybody can get behind, though, is the gift of giving. But there is a little controversy there as well. That's over just when to open your presents.
Christmas Eve or Christmas morning. In France, the debate over when to open gifts has yet to be resolved. What's particular is where Santa Claus, or Le Père Noël, leaves the loot. Traditionally, on Christmas Eve, children don't lay out a stocking, but a shoe, which can be placed by the fireplace or under the Christmas tree. As for French Father Christmas, he prefers a glass of wine to milk and cookies. The character of the Père Noël was inspired by Saint Nicholas, Saint Nicolas, who is still celebrated in the northeastern regions of Alsace and Lorraine. On December 6th, Saint Nicolas delivers candy and toys with his companion, the boogeyman Père Fouettard, or Father Whipper. While Saint Nick rewards children who have been well behaved during the year, Père Fouettard is on hand to give out coal or whip children who have misbehaved. Naughty or nice, some things are universal.
1 week after Christmas, New Year's Eve rolls around. And again, it's all about the food.
Well, just when you thought you couldn't eat another bite, there's another late evening meal, another réveillon, though it's a little bit lighter than the Christmas réveillon. You do eat foie gras and oysters and caviar canapés, but you drink a lot of champagne as well, which is scientifically proven not to make you fat.
That's true. Christmas, of course, is all about the family here in France, but when it comes to New Year's Eve, that's mostly celebrated among friends.
And when the clock strikes 12, champagne corks fly off, and people wish each other a happy new year with la bise, the kisses.
There's also the obligatory Bonne Année. Bonne Année means Happy New Year in French.
And there's a list of wishes, or vœux, essentially things that you hope will happen to people in the year to come. For instance, health, wealth, and love. It's kind of like a formula. You say, Bonne année, bonne santé, meilleurs vœux.
It might seem simple, but in fact, there's a very strict list of rules governing the etiquette of just how to exactly say Bonne Année.
Wishing people a happy new year in France is serious business. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way. Here are the cardinal rules to saying Bonne année.
Before January 1st, thou shalt not say Bonne année to anyone.
Why is that? Well, because it's bad luck. What if something goes terribly wrong between now and the end of the year, but you've already said Bonne année? To get around this, you say happy end of the year, Bonne fin d'année. Bonne fin d'année. Bonne fin d'année.
On January 1st, thou shalt say Bonne année to everyone.
And that means everyone that you run into on that day. Your baker, the waiter at the cafe, and people you run into in an elevator. Bonne année.
Bonne Année.
From January 1st to 31st, thou shalt say Bonne année to all family, close friends and colleagues the first time you see them.
It's a marathon that lasts a month, and you have to do it. It's bad luck and rude if you don't. Bonne année.
Bonne Année.
So get ready to kiss a lot of people at work, including your boss. French people also love to send New Year's cards. You see, Christmas cards aren't really a thing here. But things have changed somewhat with time and technology. These days, saying Bonne année with a text message or an email is very acceptable. But make sure you don't miss that January 31st deadline, or it's bad luck for the rest of the year. Bonne année!
Many of you sent in your questions about the holidays here in France, and many of them had to do with food. That's the case of Jennifer Ponce, who said, you guys should do a snippet on the galette des rois. Jennifer, that is one of my favorite traditions here in France, and it dates back to the Middle Ages.
People get together with their friends and family to eat galette des rois, king cake, to mark Epiphany, the day when the three wise men or three kings arrived in Bethlehem. So this is on January 6th. But king cake is so popular, you can buy it from the end of December all through the month of January, or you can make one.
Which is exactly what you did. Now, a classic galette des rois is filled with something called frangipane, which is like an almond paste. But there's all sorts of different kinds you can find filled with chestnut or apple or hazelnut. And traditionally, you drink apple cider when you're eating your galette des rois.
And there are some regional particularities as well. For instance, in the southern Provence region, it's called a gâteau des rois. It's shaped like a crown, it tastes like orange brioche, and it has candied fruit and sugar on top.
Now, no matter the differences regionally, all king's cakes have one thing in common, and that is a fève, which is the word bean, if you like, in French, because at the beginning, it was a bean. What this is a little thing that's baked inside the galette des rois, and whoever gets the slice with the fève inside it gets a year full of luck and prosperity.
It's kind of like winning the lottery. If you get the fève, then you get to be king or queen for the day. You get to wear a crown, and you get to choose a king or queen to share it with. Now, I made this galette, and we're going to tirer les rois. We're going to eat the cake to see who gets the bean. And Jeannie, I think it's going to be you, because it's always you, Jeannie.
3 years running. Here you go.
Thanks, Jeannie.
That wraps it up for this French Connections Plus.
And we'll see you next time. Please keep sending me your questions. You can tweet me at Flo Vilmeno, or you can check out our Facebook page. And bonne fête de fin d'année.
Yes, bonne fête.
Cheers.
I got it for real.